This is one of the most active volcanoes on Earth. Over 4,000 people live right here, directly at the base of it. I travelled to Sakurajima to understand what it actually feels like to live next to constant danger. This isn't actually an island anymore. A century ago, a catastrophic eruption spewed so much lava it completely swallowed a 400-metre wide ocean strait, chaining this monster directly to the Japanese mainland. Driving into the main residential side of the volcano, the tension instantly evaporates. It feels surprisingly paradise-like. Yeah, this is a beautiful place. It's empty. There are only a handful of restaurants, but the food is incredible. They've built one of the longest natural hot spring footbaths in Japan right here. On a hot day, it's absolute bliss. But then, the mirage starts to crack. You go to the beach, and the sand isn't gold. It's a dark, heavy grey from centuries of fallen ash. You dig a hole expecting hot spring water, get a mild puddle, and somehow you find a Ronald McDonald statue staring at you from a tree. This place is weird. And then you see these piles of yellow bags lining the roads. They aren't for rubbish. They are designated bags just for the volcanic ash that citizens have to shovel off of their properties regularly. Even the local wildlife treats it like just another Monday. It creates this surreal, psychological contrast. Everything about daily life tells you you're safe, but the giant in the background never stops breathing. As you drive towards the quieter sides of the island, the infrastructure changes. You start passing ghost-like abandoned buildings and this heavily weathered dinosaur park. Quite unusual, but I like it. Tucked inside is a massive 50-metre roller slide. The view from the top platform is incredible. But looking down at those rollers, there was zero chance I was riding down that without a board to sit on. But the ultimate warning sign is right here. This is the Kurokami Torii gate. In 1914, a massive eruption buried this entire shrine and nearly 700 homes in a matter of hours. They kept it exactly like this as a permanent reminder. The people here don't just live alongside history, they walk on top of it. To survive, the island has been turned into a multi-million-dollar concrete fortress. These aren't empty rivers. They are massive, engineered mudflow trenches designed to divert volcanic debris away from the homes when the mountain blows. There are 32 heavy concrete blast shelters scattered around the island, and 20 emergency evacuation ports kept pristine and ready for a mass exodus at a moment's notice. Inside the visitor centre, digital screens track the volcanic heartbeat in real time. It erupts hundreds of times a year, small, constant releases of pressure. So it begs the question, why build a life in the firing line? And then my body gave its own warning, a sudden nosebleed. Whether from the ash, sulphur or pressure, this island was definitely getting to me. To fully immerse myself, I stayed in an old teacher's residence attached to a former elementary school on the south side of the island. Walking through the empty grounds, the silence is heavy. And inside the room sit emergency safety helmets, a stark plastic reminder that even when you sleep, you are on the clock. For my first evening, I headed to the Arimura lava deck. It's built on the Taisho lava field created by the major eruption in 1914. Watching the sunset behind a massive plume of volcanic steam while the birds sing in the trees is one of the most peaceful things I've ever experienced. A little bit worried about tonight. Staying here is going to be weird, especially when it's dark. Just knowing that Volcanoes in the background. Let's see how it goes. But then the sun drops and the comfort vanishes with it. When darkness falls here, a completely different feeling takes over. You are struck by total night blindness. You can no longer see the steam columns. You don't know if the mountain is resting or if it's building pressure. You just have to sit in the dark and trust it. Still thinking about the volcano. I don't know why, it's just that uneasy feeling always in the back of your mind. What do I do if I have to get out of here quick? It's just thinking what I need to take. Sounds a bit strange really, but I guess you need to prepare. Anyway, hopefully I can sleep well tonight, there won't be any problems, so I'll see you in the morning. Waking up on day 2 is a total mental reset. The sun is out, and it's time to explore the weird and wonderful ways life adapts here. Starting with the world's largest radishes, grown exclusively in this rich volcanic soil. I grabbed breakfast and headed up to the Yunohira observation deck on the west side. This is the absolute closest public viewpoint to the crater, offering a dizzying look at the scale of the island. If you keep driving up, you hit these barricades blocking any further entry. So this is the closest you're allowed to get to the volcano. Just see the peak there. Beyond this point, you're entirely at the mercy of the mountain. The islanders don't just tolerate the danger, they defy it. In 2004, they held a massive all-night rock concert right here on the volcanic flats for 75,000 people, commemorated by this insane screaming statue made from the lava rock. That energy is everywhere. From the most authentic, cluttered local ramen restaurant run by a lovely old gentleman, to eating ash ice cream, which is actually delicious sesame and taro. But the ultimate testament to vulnerability is the Furusato Kanko Hotel. This massive, sprawling resort is currently being demolished. Standing in its shadow, it hits you. No matter how much money or infrastructure you build, the volcano always holds the lease. As night fell on my second evening, I decided to go back up to the closest peak, but a massive weather system was tracking across the bay. I tell you now, the sun's gone down. It's getting dark. A little bit scary, knowing the volcano's right there. Then the storm hit. Everything on the observation deck was closed. I stood there completely alone in the pitch black, at the highest point of an active volcano, watching lightning bolts frame the smoking crater. Huge. Storm's just come in. I'm up high next to the volcano. We need to get back to the car quick. With the metal deck acting like a lightning rod, panic set in. I sprinted back to the car, terrified of a direct strike. I think it's best I stay in the car. There's some heavy rain. Being on top of the observational tower, the highest point in Sakurajima, next to the volcano, maybe not the ideal during the storm. The drive down was pure chaos. Rain was hitting the hot volcanic road so hard that the thick steam was literally rising off the tarmac. I Up there, trapped between an atmospheric storm and a restless volcano, the illusion of a cozy paradise was completely gone. You realise just how small we really are. The next morning, the island left its receipt. A thick layer of gritty grey ash covered every single window. But as I walked through the residential neighbourhood to visit a local bakery, something incredible happened. The streets were calm. People were stepping outside, starting their cars, and sweeping their doorsteps. The midnight horror show was just another yesterday to them. Life just restarts, completely unfazed. Right before I left, I stopped off at another emergency evacuation port. While I was there, I noticed a swallow flying straight inside one of the shelter buildings. I followed it in, and right there, above the overhead lights, I found this. A swallow's nest filled with 5 tiny chicks. A mother bird had chosen a shelter designed for disaster to raise her family. And that's when it finally clicked. Why do people live here? Because humans, just like these birds, possess a beautiful, stubborn resilience. We don't stop building, dreaming, or living just because danger is close. We just learn to find peace right in the shadow of the monster.